Hey, it's Tim here. In the Tableau conference keynote, right at the end of Devs on Stage, they really did save the best till last. Tableau showed off an augmented reality demo that I think blew my mind away when the first time I saw it. And I also have a bit of an apology and a confession to make during this video. If you want to know more, let's get stuck in. Okay, so the only way for me to really sort of show you this is to just watch it together, and so we can kind of go through this. And what I will say is that you can find out more about this in the description. I've linked to all the relevant research papers by Tableau and a blog post talking more about it, as well as a video on Vimeo, which is from Tableau Research talking about this topic. So let's first of all show you the demo so you know what I'm talking about. Let's just start this video. Hopefully we can get this going.
Findings.
And we can
I go into meetings.
Okay, so let's have a look.
The kind of meetings we all have every day with our webcam on, communicating with colleagues and communicating with customers. And I want data to be infused in those conversations too. And I'm wondering, can Tableau help me here? I think we can. Up here in the corner is the Tableau Sparkle. I simply point at it and check that out. It's data.
I love this every time.
This is a data set about the top countries attending outside of the US, the top international countries in attendance. And I'd like to see what this data can tell me. So I'll simply pinch, bring out country, and place it here. Then I bring out in person.
Now, you probably didn't pick it up in the audio, but the crowd went, ooh. And this is incredible because what's going on here is that Matt is on stage. There's no sort of staging. There's no special equipment. He's using a webcam, a standard webcam on the laptop. You can go watch the conference keynote and you can see he's literally on stage in front of a basic webcam. There's a backup webcam as well in case the one that he was using fails. But nonetheless, it's just a standard setup that anyone uses for Zoom, Google Meet, Teams, all of those. This technology is going to work in that tool, as he himself says. And the first thing he did, if I just go back, is he points his finger, and you can see that the system notices his finger and puts a little dot on the end of his finger. Then he's able to use that to go and highlight Tableau. And when he highlights Tableau, the interface opens up with essentially the dimensions and measures, as we call them. In this case, country, in-person, virtual, and early bird, a Boolean field. So a very limited set of fields. But the crazy thing is this is a different interface. This is a very different interface. And the whole setup for this is about not putting, putting the data between you and the person you're presenting, essentially. Whereas normally you're presenting a screen, you're presenting something else, and you can't really talk alongside of your data. And so the idea of this demo is it's essentially allowing people to almost narrate their data and visually show people what they're looking at. You can add a whole bunch of elements. So if I just let this demo play on, you'll see it sort of start to come to life.
Check that out. It's data. This is a data set about the top countries attending outside of the US, the top international countries in attendance. And I'd like to see what this data can tell me. So I'll simply pinch, bring out country, and place it here. Then I bring out in person and place it here as well. And there it is, Canada in the lead.
It's pretty impressive. You can see he's doing it right on stage. It's a live demo, it's not cooked.
This is pretty awesome.
This is why I have to explain my apology.
My kids love playing with this. That's not in the script. I can also draw a reference line in the air with my finger to compare related values.
It's really cool.
Which is pretty awesome. And I see here's the Netherlands. I just ran into some of the Dutch folks this morning. Goedemorgen. The cool thing about this is that it uses a standard webcam, a standard laptop. This is commodity hardware.
Yeah. That
means you don't have to have a fancy hat or an augmented reality, virtual reality device.
Now, the funny thing is, this is, I don't think many people got this reference, but a lot of technologies, AR demos in particular, require you to have headset. And the BI Bake-Off with Gartner actually had different analytical partners, one of which is Microsoft, who of course have a HoloLens. And this is something that Microsoft has pitched before, augmented reality analytics with the HoloLens. They've pitched this whole concept of, one-click BI. And I actually got sent a clip by someone who was at the Gartner event as an attendee. And they have a little clip basically showing all of these sort of instances where, this demo was being done and sort of actually responding to some of those requests. And you could see the crowd there went absolutely crazy because, of course, they're seeing all these analytical tools basically go off against each other. They all have the same data set. They all have the same thing. And the crowd was absolutely loving it. I think Tableau absolutely wiped the floor for the BI Bake Off. I'm pretty certain that's the case. They won it by a country mile. And it was because of this demo. This demo really was a really good pitch for the innovation happening at Tableau. And so you can kind of see this demo go on a little bit more.
Your meetings. It also means that it works in any standard meeting software, Google Meet, WebEx, Teams, or Slack huddles. This year, as in previous years, we have a number of virtual attendees who are here. Hi, welcome. And I want to understand, where are those folks coming from? So I'll take country, I'll bring it out and place it on this drop zone. Then I'll bring in person to the y-axis, and I'll take virtual attendees and place it on the x-axis. And look at that. A number of things are immediately apparent in the data. First of all, we have a number of folks here virtually from India. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Whereas, another interesting outlier that we can see, just by pointing, notice that the values are linked up between the bar chart and the scatter plot. We have a large number
related
of
highlighting.
Japanese attendees who made the whole trip over here. Welcome. Arigato. One more thing. This is geographic data, so I'd like to see it on a map. Let's see what's possible. We'll bring out country, place it on the drop zone, and now we have a globe. We'll take in-person attendees and bring that out, and now you have a choropleth map showing attendees around the entire world. Well, that's great, but this is a globe. How do I see the rest of the world? That's right. We just pinch, and
that reaction was incredible. Yeah, just like
what's awesome about
3D globe
normally
in
when
augmented
I present
reality.
meetings, I hit share, and the data goes full screen, and our faces all get pushed to the side, and the data dominates the conversation. That's not what we want, is it? We want data infused in the conversation, and this is the message and the messenger together. That's the power of seeing and understanding data. That is the power of Tableau.
There you go. And he closes it and exits it, and you can see it's just a standard webcam, and that's the end of the demo. This is absolutely incredible. Now, this technology still has a long way to go, of course, and there's a lot of things to work out. So many of our dashboards today in a business context that are presented are so much more advanced than this sort of simple setup. But you can actually start to see, if you think back to individuals like Hans Rosling and how he narrated, human development, you can actually start to see that that kind of demo, that kind of narrative demo is almost potentially possible with this technology. And that's probably going to be, for me, the benchmark. When I get my hands on this, I will try and see if I can do Hans Rosling's demo, nowhere near as good as him. But if I can do it with the data set and with the elements here in Tableau, then I think Tableau has achieved something incredible. Now, why do I owe Tableau an apology? Well, a while back, we had this post on LinkedIn, and it was actually off the back of the Gartner Bake Off. And you can see that the reaction on this was super positive. Tons of people really, really like this. And when I watched this for the first time, there's a curse when you make videos where you start to watch the video trying to critique the technique, the production behind it. And so when I watch this, the first thing I notice is that, wait a minute, how is Matt controlling these assets? To me, the letters and the information is displaying correctly, but then Matt has to be looking at it backwards, surely, right? Like, unless he's looking at a mirror, he has to be looking at this backwards. And so he's not sitting in front of this, like, in a police station, you get these like one-way mirrors where you can see one way, but you can't see the other way. It just comes back as a mirror. That's clearly not the demo here, because not every business has that kind of setup. So I looked at this and I call this as like a visual effects sort of conceptual video demo. And then I went on a little bit of a trail because I kind of wanted to call out this demo, but I needed to really make sure that I knew my stuff. And it turns out I was way off the mark. So Matt posted this post and it linked to another article, which was this one here by Matthew Bremer. Now, Matthew Bremer is a researcher at Tableau. He's probably the person I owe an apology to. But him and his team have been researching this concept called augmented chironomia for presenting data to remote audiences. So chironomia is that sort of technique where you're using your hand and finger pointing to control things in this sort of space. And so Matt and his team, this is actually not an academic paper, it's actually a demo. And in the demo is a video. And so let's just play this as well. So I'm going to skip through it and you can see that they actually get a very early example of this.
However,
9 months ago that you can see working really, really well. Let me just turn the volume down so it doesn't talk over me. And you can see that it's working here as described, but this is the very, very early concept. Obviously the UI is slightly different. It doesn't quite have the polish of what we saw at Keynote. So it's moved on a little bit, but you can really see it's clearly the exact same technology. And you have to kind of watch it until the end. And this is when my mind blew up, because I saw that little piece at the end where they're showing you the setup they were using. And you can see here very clearly, it's just a webcam. And what it's actually doing is it's reflecting the web view to you. So what you're actually controlling is one-to-one mirroring. It's a bit like me touching a wall and seeing a mirror in my hand, and I touch my hand because I'm actually able to see what I'm doing. This is exactly the same concept, and you can see a range of different charts. So this is research that simply sort of moved on. And you can see the chart behind it and how it's all working as well, which is super interesting as well. So that is why I owe the research team at least an apology on this particular one, because I didn't think it was real. I thought it was fake. And then when I dug into it, found out that I was wrong. So sometimes you get these things wrong. Now, there is one last point. Tableau once had an app called Tableau Visible. In fact, I still have it on my iPad, and I will do a video on Visible maybe in a couple of weeks' time because I still have it on my iPad. It unbelievably still works. But what I think that app has that I think this technology could benefit from going forward is that Visible app had a lot of gestures nailed down. The way you sorted, the way you selected data, the way you interacted with data was unlike anything else in the Tableau platform. It's probably the best innovation that I've ever seen inside of Tableau in a long while, because it was a completely different interface to working with your data. And so much so that basically there's no recollection. If you search Visible, all the blog posts are gone. I found this one. Because it's a press release, these don't get deleted. But in a separate video, I'll go through Tableau Visible. I'll talk about it as the product that, got canned or whatever. We'll talk about it in some other context. I'll show you through the app, and I'll show you how some of the technology there could be paired with this to make something truly amazing for the future. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.